you have just Faker nightmares. You wake up in a cold sweat, you're like, Faker's behind me.
I know, right? I'm like, even though I only have a mat on the...
It's August 31st, 2013, and SKT is about to complete the reverse sweep against KT Bullets to win Champion Summer. However, before that happens, we witness the most iconic outplay in League history, and it would put a young Faker in the international spotlight. It's been 8 years since this moment, and some details have been forgotten. So let's rewind. Early on in 2013, SK Telecom would start a sister team to their main roster with plans of building around Faker. SKT T12 would soon fill the remaining spots with Piglet, Mandu, Bengi, and would finish out their roster with Impact. These young rookies would get their chance to prove themselves against the best teams in Korea by qualifying for Champion Spring.
Interestingly, during the interview with Shy the other night from CJ Frost, Shy said that he thinks that Blaze is going to win this season of Champions and that they are looking ridiculously strong right now. And of course, they won the IEM World Championship, really, who's to argue?
Yeah, they certainly have as good a chance as any, and probably a better chance than most, honestly.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. And for our first matchup today, there's really a lot going on. So the hype here in Korea around this SK Telecom T2 Judgment Day team is immense.
Yeah.
Particularly their mid laner, Faker, who is the #1 solo queue player on the Korean ladder. And so what better test than maybe the best mid laner in Korea, Ambition, for his first game in Champions.
Faker would immediately prove that the hype was warranted. After solo killing Ambition, it shocked the casters so much they thought it must have been an issue with Ambition's computer.
Yeah, how well is Captain Jack doing this lane? Because he's been typically a relatively weak player.
Whoa, Ambition! What? Faker just executes Ambition in that mid lane.
I think there was actually probably a problem with Captain Jack's computer right there.
I wonder, man.
SKT would go on to beat CJ Blaze 2-0, and to the surprise of most analysts, they would finish on top of their group going into playoffs. They would lose to the eventual Spring Champions, but would take third place after beating CJ Frost. However, going into Champion Summer, SKT T12 would become the main roster for SK Telecom. SKT would have a perfect group stage by not losing a single game, and it wasn't just the Faker show. Almost every member was the KDA leader for their position. Faker would go on to win the league's MVP award, and going into playoffs, they looked like they would win the whole thing. Heading into finals, SKT had only lost one game in playoffs, and it felt like their finals to lose. But before I tell you about the finals, I need to explain why this series was so important. At the time of the finals, Najin Sword had already locked a #1 spot. If KT Bullets had won the finals, they were tied with Najin Sword and would play a tiebreaker for who would automatically get to play in quarterfinals at Worlds. And that would leave SKT as the 5th seed for regional finals, meaning they would have to play and win 3 best-of-5s to get to Worlds. If SKT won the finals, however, Samsung Ozone would secure the 2nd seed, and it would force both SKT and KT Bullets to play in regional finals. So heading into finals, both KT Bullets and SKT had a lot to play for, and the series did not disappoint. KT Bullets took games 1 and 2 with ease, and it seemed like SKT had lost their form. However, in Game 3 things would change. They put Mando and Zyra and would draft Zed for Faker. Game 3 was the shortest game of the playoffs, and a complete team effort in Game 4 would send the series to our now infamous Game 5. SKT was in control of Game 5 from start to end, and while a team full of rookies winning Champion Summer in their first year should have been the big story of this series, it wasn't. This series is really talked about in retrospect. Everyone always remembers this outplay, and for good reason. It was the moment the League of Legends world outside of Korea discovered Faker. While he might now be a veteran with a never-ending list of accolades, surrounded by young players trying to make their mark on the game the way he has, he was once where they are. A young, unproven, unheralded kid just trying to be the best. But I think I speak for all of us when I say that only Faker could make us say, what was that?
I think he's in the bed. Oh, Faker maybe in trouble here. Deathmark tries to clean it up for Ryu. Oh, look at the cleanse. Look at the moves. Faker, what was that?
Faker with a huge play. The QSS.
I can't believe I just saw
he
that.
actually won that duel.